Welcome to Almost Agreeable.
Almost Agreeable.
With your hosts, Chris Nellison and Ed Harris. Hang around and listen to opinions on sports, movies, music, and whatever else pops in our head.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Almost Agreeable. And we're going to start out with our first music episode. Today we're going to talk about who we really like as musicians. Really just get grounded and explain to everybody where we're at in the music game. And then we'll get into the 60s. Okay, we're going to go through each of the decades, but we're going to talk about the 60s, who is maybe the most iconic, influential, the best musically. And then we'll end it by getting into some hot routes.
Hot routes, that's right. We could do hot routes. I like that, because what I wanted to say initially when you said all that was that I don't have very much depth when it comes to music. I'm very, I'm old school. I don't think I've listened to a new song since the 90s.
Don't.
That's a lie, actually.
Don't.
We'll get into it. But
Don't.
I do live in the... glad you said 60s earlier, because I definitely do live in the 60s, 70s, and in the 80s a little bit. I'm going to get a lot of hate when we talk about my favorite band, so that's going to be fun.
Perfect. Well, I guess let's just start out, really let the audience know where we stand musically. I kind of listen to, I mean, everybody says, oh, I listen to everything. Oh, don't we all? Yeah. Except for you.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. I listen to most things. You get on my Spotify and it'll go around from Lady Gaga to Kanye to Megadeth to Logic to Hozier to...
Toby Keith.
Not really. But Johnny Cash. Absolutely.
That's what I wanted to...
Maybe some Merle Haggard and the Strangers.
That's really funny that I said Toby Keith and you were like, not really. And then you bring up Johnny Cash, because I know where you're going with that. I know you want to have an argument about whether Johnny Cash is considered country music. And that's for another time. But the answer is no, it's fucking not.
Okay. Hot take.
It's not hot at all.
Hot take.
I feel like there's a lot of people out there that would agree that the genre of quote-unquote country music that Johnny Cash played is not considered like in the same breath as country music today.
Well, I would fucking hope not. Because Johnny Cash is country.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to fight this early. We're only a few minutes in. I don't want to fight yet.
All right. So what's bouncing around for you? What are you usually listening to? What's like your base? What's your music, man?
Well, I go in waves, and recently it's been something different. But typically, I guess we can say that I really am into the golden age of rock and roll from like the 60s and 70s, right? Like maybe late 60s into like the guitar innovation that happened in the 70s. And I pretty much, if you go to my Apple Music or my suggested from what I listen to, it's all stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yes.
With new music, I couldn't tell you who's hot right now. I don't listen to a whole lot of rap. I listen to old school rap. Like I listen to Wu-Tang.
Nothing to fuck with.
I listen to Nas a lot.
For sure.
I guess not huge into NWA, but I know the classics. But new music, no. I don't even know what the fuck's happening. I listen to Dirty Heads. That's the newest stuff I listen to. That's about it. As far as so when we start talking about what's happening today, the state of music, to me, the state of music is fucking dead. So that's where I stand. I mean, we can go more in depth, but let's hear about you. Let's hear where do you stand?
Currently, really getting into. So basically, Logic just released a new album, and that's like really the newest thing.
Another one?
Okay. His actual last album. He's done.
He's done?
He's done doing music.
Why is he done?
He did 10 years of music. He's a father now, and he said he's quitting the rap game, and he's just going to be a full-time dad.
Is this going to fucking stick?
I think so. Like, he's been saying that, like, he wanted to be done. Like, he got all of his monies He did what he wanted to do. Like, he made it huge in the rap game. Like, he literally did what he wanted to do. And now he's just like, okay, I'm good. And it's a nice mirror of his first studio album. So his first studio album, he had a lot of mixtapes, a lot of projects before that. But his first studio album is called Under Pressure. And it's just about making it. You know, he's hungry. This last album he just released is called No Pressure.
Oh, that's really cute.
It's real cute, right?
No, I'm being an asshole. That's cool. I get it. I like it. I like the symbolism. I like that he knew where he was going and he went and he got there. But also, it's really cute.
But really, it's just, I don't know. Like you said, it's all fluid. It all depends on what I want to listen to that day.
Right.
You know, I'm super into Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift. I mean, I have a whole playlist called My Bitches.
He's not lying.
And the thing's a slapper. You know what? We'll link it so everybody can listen to.
Oh, let's go ahead and put it in the bio.
Absolutely.
Everyone
we'll link it on Almost Agreeable. So
it's called My Bitches?
It's called My Bitches.
I'm offended. That's offensive.
It's so that whenever I'm sitting there and I talk to my Google, who's always listening and says weird things sometimes, I can just say, hey, Google, play My Bitches. Oh, shit, it's going to happen right now. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, we stopped it.
Okay.
But it makes it that simple. What the playlist used to be labeled as, it was just the emoji of a poodle.
Oh.
But I don't know how to play that playlist. I don't know how to say, like...
Play emoji poodle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Now I can see why you went with My Bitches.
Gotcha. But it's just full of Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Halsey.
What's a Halsey?
Tovlo. What's a Halsey?
Yeah. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm asking a legitimate question. And you're just
what's a Halsey?
I feel like I'm not ashamed. Here's the biggest thing you're going to learn about me. I was not fucking lying when I said I don't know what's hot and what's new. Oh my
god. Okay, so you know the song with Halsey and the Chainsmokers, Closer? I'm not going to sing it.
You know, well, you might. I mean, yes, I do know this song. I'm talking about in an old car or something.
Yeah.
In the
backseat of her Rover.
The Rover. That's okay. I do know that song.
Boom.
Yeah.
See, God, you're old.
Ouch. Okay. That's all right.
But that is my shining accomplishment on Spotify, apart from Almost Agreeable, is creating this playlist, My Bitches.
Okay. So
I also create like weirdly specific playlists that are like specifically for late night driving, or one of my playlists is literally called After the Party is Over and You're Seeing Who's Left to Hook Up With. And it has like Drake on there. Some Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, Lana. That's a good mood setter, right?
Yeah. So just that's one of my things, is just curating playlists and make them for perfect specific occasions.
No, I really do have a lot of playlists too, but they're not as specific as that. The playlist that I've been bumping a lot recently, and I would say within the last couple of weeks, has been my Shazam playlist. The way Apple Music is working is like if you...
Is Shazam still a thing?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
No, it's lit, because what happens is if you Shazam a song and it's on Apple Music, which most music is, it'll just add it to a Shazam playlist within your iTunes.
Huh.
So like all the songs I've ever Shazammed are in one place. And so the cool thing is, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but I've been rewatching a show from my adolescence. Okay. Back when I was a teenager, and I would say early teens, very young, I watched The OC. Okay, I watched The OC when it came out, and they just released it on HBO Max. Okay.
You're a Cali guy? It makes sense.
I guess so. So I was like, I'm going to rewatch this. It's been a few years, so I rewatched it. And the biggest thing with the music within that show is it's all like alt indie.
Yes.
Music.
And Modest Mouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Death Cab for Cutie.
Yep.
The Killers. All that stuff. And other stuff that I've never even heard of. And so I've been Shazamming a bunch of stuff. And then what I'll do at the end of the day is just listen to the Shazam playlist. And there's a bunch of all indie rock. And I've been about it.
So you're like bumping like 05, 06 vibes.
Yeah. I would even go back to even 02, 03, even 04 a little bit.
Ooh.
And that's how I've been vibing the last couple. I've been doing yard work and I've been listening to like Death Cab for Cutie. Magnet's a big one that like there's like 19 songs in the OC by this band called Magnet. I've never heard of.
I have never heard of Magnet,
and it's very indie.
Perfect.
But it's a good little. It's kind of slow and chill, and I don't know. I'm about it. That's what I've been doing lately.
Very good. Very good. Well, I guess let's just round out, getting to know us musically as who's your, Lost on an Island, like stranded on an island band.
So you asked this question, but I know why you're asking it, but you already know the answer.
Yes.
It's the Beatles.
It is.
It's the Beatles. And we're going to get into the Beatles a lot more when we start going into the 60s. But for me, yes, it's the Beatles. Lonely, like on an island. I need one band to listen to. Yeah. It just covers such a wide spectrum of genres within their 10 years. They're only together 10 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. They released many pivotal albums. Maybe within a year and a half, less than a year of each other.
Yeah.
Well,
just throwing stuff
it's
out.
Crazy.
But yeah, for me, it's the Beatles. What about you?
For me, it is Metallica. That's just my pinnacle for On an Island. That's the only thing I can listen to. I like the new stuff. And
even the drum sound in Saint Anger?
In Saint Anger? Oh, man. It's so controversial. No, I like... My first concert ever was Metallica. After they released their Death Magnetic album.
Okay.
In 08, 09 time frame. That was my first concert. And it just stuck with me. I just love the energy that they have. I wish I could have seen them in the 80s. That would have been crazy. I mean, them being crazy, like hype down in San Francisco. They play.
Hetfield still sounded good.
Oh yeah, he still sounds good. They still play. Well, whenever baseball's going, if they're at a Giants game, they'll go play the national anthem. They'll start out the game with the national anthem.
Oh, they play in the parking lot of Raider games when they used to be in Oakland.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're just a fantastic band. Love the energy. And I like when an artist changes their sound.
Okay.
And this honestly was a really tough one for me because right next to each other is Metallica and Childish Gambino. And he changes his sound. I mean...
Who's Childish Gambino?
Don't talk to me.
Okay, I'm just kidding. That one's a joke.
Oh, it's Danny Glover's son.
It's Lando Calrissian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know who Childish Gambino is. No, I'm just kidding. I do know who Childish Gambino is. I'm just joking. It's a joke. It's a bad joke.
But it would have to be Metallica for me. Just the energy that they bring, the growth that they show between all of their albums. Just love them.
What's your favorite Metallica album?
Ooh, and this is actually tougher than who's my favorite artist. Because their first...
Do you want me to give you a list? Narrow it down for you?
No, because literally their first 5, those could all be number 1 for me.
So, first 5, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Justice for All, and the Black Album.
Yes, those could all be a number 1 for me. At any given point, Kill 'Em All is just like that raw energy. And then the Black Album is then like making it big and just having that's their sound. That's what made them big, that Enter Sandman. Enter Sandman is their biggest hit to date. That's what kind of put them on the scene. But of course, if you listen to metal already, then you knew them.
Okay, that's fair. I'm glad you put the asterisk at the end there.
Yes.
Because I'm sitting here like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but that's because, like you said, you're stuck 30 years ago.
Yeah,
and
that's me, because I'm a big Metallica fan as well.
Yeah.
My favorite album I can name without hesitation is Justice for All.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Master of Puppets.
Master of Puppets is great. Dude,
really
there's
good.
a lot of good songs on that album. Oh my god.
See, now you're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it, but I've also had like 30 years to think about it, because when I was growing up, we didn't listen to fucking bullshit in the car. We listened to what my dad wanted to listen to, so I listened to all those albums growing up, and when I was like going through like an activist phase in my teens, I was like, yeah, Justice for All, dude, fuck the government, let's go. Like,
nuclear warfare.
That was my jam.
Yeah, because your dad is just like, we're playing the shit I want to play.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because it's funny, all his friends had kids later on, and they played like Barney and shit in their cars, like for their kids to sing along to like Bingo and Barney, and my dad always just was like,
your dad's sitting over here, Saxon.
Yeah. Yes, Saxon.
Saxon. If you don't know who Saxon is, go check it out.
Go check out Saxon. I know one guy who probably doesn't listen that would love Saxon. But other than that, I don't know anyone else besides that guy that would know Saxon.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, well, you got so in-depth with Metallica just now. I mean...
Well, no, it's actually perfect timing. We're just going to transfer right into... everybody has a base of... They get an idea of what we like musically, mm-hmm. where we kind of branch out, where we kind of have our tree trunk of our music. So let's transition into the 60s. We talked about this concept. We've talked about this concept for a while, talking about the different decades, the different generations, and we came to the conclusion to start at the 60s. Because that's when it started to become more of a worldwide phenomenon.
I agree. I mean, in the 50s, you had, Elvis, Buddy Holly while he was still alive, and it was all kind of, everyone knew them. There was a mania around that kind of music, but that was like the beginning. It didn't start to become transcendent until the 60s, which was what I would say.
Exactly.
I'm not a music historian or anything, but I do like music. Sorry.
So I would absolutely agree on that front. Just that's when it really did become transcendent. Yeah, music was a part of people's lives before that, and people went crazy for Elvis. I mean, clearly. But the 60s, it was just different.
Well, so much happened, too, I feel like. In the beginning of the 60s, it was still that type of raw, skiffle music that Buddy Holly and Ritchie Valens and those guys had kind of been doing in the 50s. So the beginning of the 60s starts out that way. And then so much happened in just that 10-year period and then obviously we'll get into it later, but everything that happened in the 60s shaped what happened in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we're beginning with the 60s, because that's when it started. That's when it began.
Yeah.
And it began with bands like, I don't know, the Beatles. That's biased. It began with, and like people can hate, a lot of people hate on the Beatles. That's real life. They do. They're like, oh, they fucking suck and they're super plain and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no matter what you think about their music, if you like it or you don't like it or you hate it, what they did for music is the biggest thing that should stand out to people.
Shout out one of our friends, Kevin Hester, hates the Beatles. But I agree. There's no way you can deny
the influence,
the movement that occurred.
Right. Kevin hates the Beatles?
Kevin hates the Beatles.
I think I did know this.
Kevin hates the Beatles.
Well, since he's a listener, I'll end it there.
Perfect. So let's just jump into some influential bands in the 60s. So let's go with the Beatles. Let's start with the Beatles.
Okay. So, I would say, as far as bands go, 10 years is a long time. They formed in 1960. Up until that point, up until 1960, a lot of shuffling between band members. As a matter of fact, they had like a drummer, and the manager was like, I don't fucking like this guy. And they brought in Ringo. Like at the last minute. They're like, hey, get this guy. Who Ringo is well known to a lot of music enthusiasts, is like not being that good of a drummer. There's actually an amazing fucking interview out there where the Beatles are all up on stage and a reporter asks, hey, is Ringo the best drummer in the world? And I think it's John who's like, Ringo's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. So that's one of my favorite things. But so yeah, they come together.
But
finally.
isn't that such a drummer name though?
Well, it's not his real name.
But it's just such a drummer name.
100%.
It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Ringo Starr.
With 2 R's.
Love it. With 2 R's.
With 2 R's, yeah. For those of you who don't know, Ringo Starr's real name is Richard Starkey, which...
Way less fun.
Like you could have stuck with that, it would have been okay.
Way less fun.
Ringo Starr, Richard Starkey, whatever. So they get together and then they play that shit, that poppy bullshit that most Beatle haters think about when they hear the name Beatles. They think about, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Help, Can't Buy Me Love. They think about those songs and they're like, that's so fucking cheesy and campy and love and blah, blah, blah.
What album do you think changed that? When do you think they took maybe not a drastic turn, but where do you think
it began?
Yeah, where do you think it began?
Revolver.
You think so?
Yeah, Revolver was... They started doing drugs. Okay. Like, they'd always smoked weed, but, like, they started doing drugs when Revolver came out. And Revolver is nothing close, and I'm glad you stipulated like Drastic, but like just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because Drastic, I mean, we're talking Sgt. Pepper.
Sgt. Pepper.
But even before Sgt. Pepper, we have Revolver and Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul.
I was gonna say Rubber Soul.
We're gonna say Rubber Soul. I would say Revolver even more so. Rubber Soul still has a lot of that campy sound, that skiffle, that poppy.
That's what I'm meaning though, is that's the start. That's the start of when you're like, you could see like, okay, there's a change on the horizon.
I mean, I wish we could sit here right now and we could listen to Rubber Soul and Revolver, and you'd be able to look at Revolver and say, oh, I get it. Revolver for me is at that point when they're absolutely starting to push the envelope,
push the boundaries of what is popular and what they were.
Right.
Because they were, coming over here with these mop heads, all these long hairs.
Selling out Shea Stadium.
Look at these hippies. But they just put on a show.
Well, the sad part about it to me, about you saying that, they put on a show, is that after so many years of touring, they kind of got tired of it because it became not about the music anymore. They got to a point where it was like, these people aren't coming to listen to the music. They're screaming the whole fucking time. And I know John was a big influence to say, I want to stop touring. And that's when Sgt. Pepper happened. They didn't go on a live tour again until the last time they all played live together on top of the rooftop.
Yeah.
And a lot of that music came from, or went to the Abbey Road and Let It Be albums.
Yeah,
music
exactly.
recorded straight from that rooftop. And that kind of, I feel like those last two albums, the Abbey Road and Let It Be, led right into the 70s like guitar. Because that's
absolutely.
They don't go back to their campy pop skiffle roots. They're playing a grungy rock at that point.
Yeah.
Especially in Let It Be.
It's very different. I guess so, transitioning out of the Beatles.
Why do we need to do that? I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Transitioning out of the Beatles, another band that I would put in this kind of category of being extremely influential and really changing the shape of, how we're listening to music is Led Zeppelin.
Okay,
and I will say that because, start out being the Yardbirds.
The new Yardbirds.
The new Yardbirds.
The new Yardbirds.
The new Yardbirds.
Because the original Yardbirds were Eric Clapton.
Yes.
Yes.
Most of Led Zeppelin's hit stuff, is in the 70s.
Yes, okay.
Is in the 70s. But you can't deny their first couple albums.
Led Zeppelin 1 and Led Zeppelin 2.
Those are just so raw. Robert Plant's voice in that just brings it home.
It's wild to me.
It's piercing.
It's a different sound than you had heard before, his vocals from him. And I think that's what makes them stand out so much. Like, if you had heard Led Zeppelin today, you'd be like, yeah, what?
Yeah.
But, like, at that time, it was so unique and a different thing that anyone has ever heard before. Don't get me started. I was going to save Zeppelin for the 70s, because, like you said, most of their hits are in the 70s. But, yes, their debut album, Led Zeppelin 1, just a new sound. You could kind of see the roots starting to take, to the ground as they're going to move into the 70s and play the songs that we know today. Stairway to Heaven, and their album Physical Graffiti comes out in the 70s. And
yeah.
Jimmy Page playing the double guitar.
It's just, oh man, it's just a good sound. But we'll save a lot more of that for the 70s.
I would agree.
Because that's when they really make their mark, is what I would say.
Okay. So let's, we're talking about Jimmy Page, right? A great guitarist. One of the most influential guitarists of all time made music in the 60s. One of the most influential electric guitarists, right? And I'm talking, of course, about Jimi Hendrix.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Jimi Hendrix also part of the Forever 27 Club. Right?
Yeah.
It's just sad. It's sad because he was making sounds with the guitar people were like not even fucking with.
You can still go back. You can see people, professional guitarists, like famous, prolific guitarists, look back and be like, I don't know how he fucking did that. Yeah. I don't know how he made that noise.
To this day.
How he made that specific, I don't know how he's playing the way that he's playing. He's a legend. It's mythical almost.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to say a little bit of that has to do with the fact that he died so young.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But also, from what you just said, that people today are like, how the fuck, about what? Like, how did he do that? That is a testament to the creativity that was Jimi Hendrix at the time.
And I don't know if you know this, but the unique sound, well, part of the reason he had such a unique sound is he was left-handed, but he would play it on a right-handed guitar. So he would re-string the guitar from high to low. He would flip the guitar around, re-string it, so the mellows from the lows kind of play differently because the neck of a guitar is beveled.
Right.
So all of the notes will hit differently, and that's part of his unique sound.
That is wild. I did not know that.
Crazy. Like, oh man. I love going to Seattle, seeing all of the Jimi Hendrix love, going to the EMP right near the Science Fiction Museum in the Seattle Center, because they always have stuff dedicated to him. And
right.
Just his entire history is fantastic. I mean, and at 27, he was already that prolific. It's crazy.
It is crazy because, who else is in that club is a conversation for another day. But just the fact that we don't have that, we didn't get to see. It's like when we talked about what could happen with these players that had injuries. Now we're thinking about these musicians, these artists that could have had even more influence.
Yeah.
That we probably didn't even see the best from them yet. Jimi Hendrix is one of them. Who else do we got? I got one.
You got one?
I got one. The Who. Also from Britain.
Man, oh God. I don't listen to The Who as much as I should. But man, I've listened to all of their stuff. For some reason, they just always fall behind these other legends. Like the Beatles, like Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, but goodness, The Who is so good.
Yeah, I don't think that doesn't happen to me. They're always in the forefront of my mind. They have a constant, rotation on a lot of my shuffle playlists. I think that they're referred to in musically as the Godfathers of punk, which is not very well known. I feel like when people think about punk, they think about the Clash and the Cure, and Ramones, big time, that late 80s push for pop and punk. But with The Who, they were the first ones to have that angsty attitude with the songs they wrote. They had an aggressive approach to how they made their music and how they played it. They were one of the first bands to destroy their instruments on stage.
That was their thing. They
were very energetic during their live performances, which
I got blisters on me fingers.
Yeah, except that was all the time. That was every show. And then they started the whole rock opera thing with their album Tommy.
Yeah.
So, with Tommy, you have something that's kind of new. It's like a story.
Yeah.
On a double album.
Of course, each song tells a story in itself, but seeing this kind of whole anthology, but it's in one album.
And it's a double album.
And
all the work they put into that.
Yeah.
And they made a movie about it, with that as the soundtrack. And so they were one of the first bands to do that. So think about the influence that carries on, right? You have all kinds of songs, Queensryche comes to mind with their album Operation Mindcrime.
Yeah.
That's a whole story enclosed in an album.
Yeah.
Those things don't happen unless, some of these bands do it first. And The Who was one of the first bands to actually do that.
I can definitely get behind that. So who would you say is your favorite? Because we've talked about these monsters.
Can we talk about who's my favorite of the who we talked about today?
Yes, of the 60s, who would you say encompasses the 60s for the vibe, civil rights, new sound, and just
easy.
Is...
It's fucking easy.
Yeah?
It's the Beatles.
All right. I knew this was a dead-end question, just we all know the answer.
Yeah, well, if you didn't, you know now.
Yeah. I would have to go with Hendrix. Just being a guitar player myself, just resonates.
Let me hit you with this then, okay? Yes, Jimi Hendrix for rock and roll, yes, 100%. But for music, from that point on, it's the Beatles.
But we're not talking about from that point on. We're just talking about the 60s.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. Okay, so still the Beatles.
All right. I can almost agree with that. But we could talk about the 60s for ever.
Ever.
I mean, we could really talk about any decade forever, but just wanted to bring up who we think. So now we're going to transition into a musical
Hot Route.
edition of Hot Route.
Music edition.
Brand new. So, question 1.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to like any of these.
They're not bad. So what is a cover that you think is better than an original song?
Okay. You know, it's really wild because as soon as you were finished, I fucking had it.
Oh,
I have to think about it.
okay.
It's Johnny Cash's Hurt.
Ah, very good.
Okay, Johnny
Very
Cash covered Hurt, originally sang by 9 Inch Nails. I love Trent Reznor. I love 9 Inch Nails. That Johnny Cash cover of Hurt is better.
That Johnny Cash cover is the genre.
It is.
It's good.
It makes me want to cry every time I hear it.
Well, and it's surprising because most people, I mean, I don't know about most people, but the decent amount of people that I talk with, I tell them, oh, this is actually from 9 Inch Nails.
Right.
And they're like, oh, no.
Yeah, they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
A very close second is Mad World. So Tears for Fears sings a Mad World,
Mhm.
and then Gary Jules does
Gary
Mad
Jules.
World. If people don't know that song, you definitely know it. If you've seen Donnie Darko, you know Mad World. That is a cover from a song originally written and performed by Tears for Fears.
And that's a sad song Gary Jules turns it into.
It doesn't sound as sad when the Tears for Fears are singing.
No, absolutely not. Gary Jules comes in here. I remember my first time hearing that song was on the Gears of War commercial. The first Gears of War commercial. And it just hit.
Yeah.
Woo.
It's a good one.
That is a good one.
It's a hot one.
I can definitely... Okay, I like that. I like that. You just had that locked and loaded,
It's
didn't
weird.
you?
I really did.
All right, Hot Route.
Hot Route.
Number 2. Who is an artist or a band or just a musical figure that maybe you didn't like at first and then you grew into really digging their music? Or vice versa, somebody you really did like and just fell out of touch with them after some song or something they did or something.
That's gonna take me a second. That's gonna take me a minute. Oh shit.
This is Hot Route. This is a Hot Route. I mean, or if you don't have any, like...
I think, okay, so it's U2.
U2?
It's U2.
In which direction?
Loved them, right? And then they dropped a new album and it was just on my just on my iPhone. And after that I just fucking hated them.
Who does this asshole think he is?
I was just
Bono,
yeah,
these fucking glasses.
I'm like, bro, like, why is this? I didn't buy this. I didn't download it. Why is this on my shit? And I'd like be on shuffle, and a song from it would come up. Like, I didn't fucking buy this. I don't want it.
You know, I don't remember what year that happened, but I do remember everybody's reactions because they were gold. They were that exactly like, what the fuck? I don't listen to U2.
And I did listen to U2 when I wanted to, not when it was forced upon me.
Oh, goodness.
It took me a minute, but that's the right answer.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. For me, I guess, because I had to think about this one as well. For me, it would be Chance the Rapper.
Okay.
Because I've listened to him, you know, he put out his second mixtape, Acid Rap, in 2013. And I had listened to it a little bit and didn't like it at all. Thought his voice was nasally, thought it was just whiny, didn't like it, was not a fan of Chance the Rapper. And then I kept listening, and I was like, yo,
Chance
this
the Rapper.
mixtape hits.
Self-produced.
Yeah. Look what he's gone on to do, you know?
Yep.
But definitely at the beginning, I was like, I don't know about this guy. This doesn't sound very good. Shows what I know. And for our last Hot Route, this one will take you longer than the last one. My wife shows me this meme yesterday, and it is name a band for every letter in your first name. And it just caught me so off guard. So, yep, you have to do Christopher.
Okay. Oh, all of it.
Yep.
All of it. Okay.
I've decided.
All right, I'm on it. Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Very good. I was going to say you were going to say Creed first. That counts. But it has Creed.
I'm going to try to do bands I like.
No, it counts. Creed and... Okay.
Okay. The Hollies.
Okay. Very good.
I'm an R now. The Ramones.
Ah. Okay.
INXS.
It's fucking Iron Maiden.
Oh my god, it is Iron Maiden.
It's Iron Maiden.
Okay, it's Iron Maiden. Damn, because I'm on the spot.
Dude,
what's after IS?
That's exactly how I felt. I was just on the spot. I was like, how do I spell my name again? I don't know.
S. Stooges. Well, I guess that's Iggy Pop. Oh, I should have said Iggy Pop for I. S. Let's do S. Oh, geez. Stone Temple Pilots.
Ah.
T. Tool.
Perfect.
Do I win?
Yes, actually.
I win. Okay. Oh, damn. O. Oasis.
Money.
T-O-P. P. Yeah.
Oh, I'm now remembering what Tara said.
Give me a minute on this. Phil Collins.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Phil
H
Collins.
again?
H again.
Hello, goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Okay. E. Everclear.
Ah, classic.
And then R again. I said the Ramones for my first
You
R,
said
right?
the Ramones.
Richie Valens.
Ooh. Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
That was a rough one.
So usually I think of like, I don't know why my head always goes through like metal. Like as you're, for some reason going through my own name was hard, but as you're going through your name, I'm just like, oh, Iron Maiden, T for Tool, R for Rat.
Rat.
P for Pantera.
Pantera.
Just that's where my head's at, and I don't know why.
Yeah, mine's all over the place. I'm like thinking of like scrolling through my iTunes, like looking at different bands, but that wasn't working just now. Whatever came to my head just came into my head. The only one I was very sure about was Creedence Clearwater Revival. All right. Well, yeah.
All right.
Nice hot route. I like that.
Hey, another successful hot route. Another successful episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a good one. Our first music one.
Yeah.
Talking about what kind of our base is, who we are musically as people.
We started talking about the influential bands of the 60s.
Then we'll jump into the 70s next time
Yeah.
and just go down the decades. And then finished up with a nice hot route.
It was hot.
That was a hot one.
It was a hot one.
All right. So for another episode, I'm Ed Harris.
I'm Chris Nelson.
Thanks for coming by.
And thanks for stopping by. Thank you for listening to another episode of Almost Agreeable. You can catch all new episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Almost Agreeable.